Good evening and welcome to For the Record live, not only on FBC TV but also across our 6 radio stations. And at this time, I welcome our listeners on all our radio stations. In studio with us tonight is the leader of the Fiji Fest. He's turned up for the much talked about debate that was to happen between Mr. Josiah Vorenge Bainimarama and the leader of the Social Democratic Liberal Party, Rotemu Mukepa. Unfortunately, she withdrew from the challenge that she had initially issued, but we will go ahead with this discussion. And at this time, we are hoping that Rotemu is watching this show or listening across our 6 radio stations and may make it in time for the show tonight. Joining us on the panel is Jyoti Pratibha from the Fiji Sun, and let's get right into it. Mr. Bainimarama, thank you very much for being here tonight. Jyoti, thank you for joining us. Less than a week away from elections, you've been going around the country campaigning, talking to voters and trying to win over people. Are you finding opposition? Because there's a lot of rhetoric, a lot of talk about how this is a very divisive political debate and election leading up to September 17th.
I thought I'd make it known that sure, I'm going out there trying to win votes. All the political parties are out there campaigning every day, trying to win votes. But in addition to that, I'm going out to tell the people, please listen to me before you make your decision, because there's a lot of lies that have been spread about our programs, about things that we've done. A lot of lies that are put out by especially the SODELPA. And I want to clear the air and tell the people, listen to me, let me tell you what is exactly happening in the country with regards to our economy, with regards to the land bank, with regards to the constitution. And then so when you vote, you don't have to be lied to make that tick. And it's most unfair. I've been telling them wherever I go to, whenever I speak to the people, I tell them that it's most unfair when people, supposedly people who have held positions in government, Ratus and Nandis, and they sit down with the community and they tell them this is what's happening, knowing fully well that most of our people in the rural areas haven't read the Constitution. So they interpret the Constitution in such a way to get the people feeling very shaky about what we've done, the government that is. And so on the note, they'll say, don't vote for Fiji First. There are a lot of lies that have been spread. So I go out and tell them, this is what's in the Constitution. What you hear from SODELPA is not true. This is what's in the land bank. What you hear from the SODELPA is not true. Because the land bank is ours. We put the land bank decree together, not the SODELPA, not NFP. So they're twisting things around. This is what to do with secular state. You can pray to Jesus now, after the Constitution, you still can pray to Jesus after the election. Because that's what SODELPA is going around telling everyone. You can't pray to Jesus after the election. If Fiji First wins, you can't pray to Jesus. And I'm telling the people, if you can pray to Jesus now, you still can pray to Jesus after the election. These are lies that are being spread so that the people in the rural areas think twice about what government is doing and if they should vote for Fiji First. So I'm telling them, it's a very important election for us, for a few things. But one is there's no racial discrimination in this election. When we queue up here before, we used to have 3 or 4 queues: the Tokais, the Indo-Fijians, the others, and so on. And there are 2 ticks, one for open seat and one for the communal voting. And that really is racial discrimination. Now, that has been removed. Because the electoral system now in the new constitution will allow people to be standing in only one queue, one line, and only one tick, one value. Not only that, after 4 years, then you vote again. So when you vote, make sure it counts. Make sure it's worth it. Think of what that vote means to you and to the nation. And don't vote because you've been lied to. Unfortunately, most of these people in the rural areas don't know that they've been lied to. As I've said, the aunties and the ratus come and sit, former PS, former prime ministers come and sit with them and tell them this is the real interpretation of the constitution. It's not good for us. It's not good for the Itoke land. The Itoke land is not safe here. They believe it because these are the ratus and aunties and former permanent secretaries and former prime ministers. And then I go and said, no, it's safe. Don't worry about that. A couple of places I've been to, especially one in Kandavu, I went there and they said, we were always Fiji first. And SODELPA came and told us these stories and we were very worried. And they said, but we know that I was coming. So they said, wait, when he comes, then he'll come and explain this to us. And I explained the real interpretation of everything that the SODELPA went and said. And they said, thank God, we're back to Fiji first. I was in Navosa. After I spoke, one of the gentlemen there stood up and said, most unfortunate for those people that have voted. Pre-poll had started then, last week. Most unfortunate for those people that have voted, that didn't vote for Fiji first. They should have listened to you. But guess what? Those that have voted for SODELPA voted because they've been lied to. And that's, I think it's most unfair. But as I keep saying, if they lie to you now, they'll lie to you in Parliament. Mm-hmm. Yeah? Well, if they don't have anything constructive to tell you now, they won't have anything constructive to take with them to Parliament.
Mm-hmm. Before we move on, I'd just like to tell our viewers right now that we have a chair next to Mr. Bainimarama. It's been left empty. We're waiting and we're hoping that Rotemumu may show up sometime during the duration of this talkback, and we will have her on the show. This message goes out through FBC TV and our 6 radio stations, Radio Fiji 1, Radio Fiji 2, Gold FM, Today FM, Radio Mirchi and Bula FM. Here's hoping. We've got our fingers crossed because this is an opportunity for the SODELPA leader, Rotemumu Kepa, to come on the show and to speak to her voters, to the people that she is proposing to lead if she is elected as Prime Minister. We have Mr. Bainimarama with us. We will be speaking with him, but as you can see, there is an empty chair in the studio, and that chair is meant for Rotemumu. Mr. Bainimarama, I'll give the next question to Jyoti.
So, as you rightly pointed out, lies have been one aspect of this entire political campaign. The other thing that people have been seeing, that Fiji First supporters seem to have been victims of vandalism. Did you expect this to happen, and who would you blame for all this nastiness that's coming out in the campaign now?
I'm sorry, Jyoti, I heard your home got stolen last night. I'm sorry about that. But you see, your home could not have been stolen by my party and my supporters because we are law-abiding people. I can tell you which party stole, not that I know offense to the particular, but I'm sorry about that. When I launched that new hotel, the 33-story hotel in the GPH, I had mentioned that we would come down very hard on people that would threaten other people because of their politics, and it's most unfair. And I'm sorry about what happened to you. When I was going up to Lombasa last week, I received a call from one of the villagers. In fact, it's Valeni in the Kondrave. Welevu. And he said, Turoni Koro is going around thrashing the Fiji First banners. So I said, well, is there a police close by? I know that he had to find transport to and find police assistance. And I said, if it's all possible, try and get the police to come and have a look. But I said, I went and mentioned that when I was in the Lombasa hall, I told the people, I don't know if this guy knows, but by thrashing the Fiji first
Instance.
flags, and it means that he doesn't want free school fees. He doesn't want free bus fare for his kids. He doesn't want the road be built. So I really don't know where it was coming from. But one of the people in the hall heard me mention that. So he was also from Moileu. So he called this particular village. This guy, this touring Koro's name is Nembuka. I know, I was told about that. And he came back and he told me, you know, this guy you're talking about, he's not worried about that because he doesn't have a family. He's not married. He doesn't have any kids. So he can go thrashing your flags all over the place. And he's not worried about that, but I don't know what the reason is. But we've received threats. Our supporters have received threats. But when threats go to people such as you, no, seriously, we can look after ourselves, let's say.
If push comes to shove, if need be.
But women such as you, it's most unfortunate when they do this. It's unpleasant. It's not very good.
One of the slogans used against you is that you're a coup maker. What you did in 2006 was overthrowing a democratically elected government, and here you stand asking the people to vote for you so that you yourself can become an elected leader. What do you say to that?
Well, you know, when we came in 2006, you know what I said. We were not conducting a coup.
You call it a clean-up campaign.
Clean-up campaign.
You do admit that an elected government was...
we removed the elected government, like this guy in Senganga, who is the only guy that stood up and asked all these questions that would have been asked by Sodelpa people. And he said, I don't recognize you. I said, well, that's all right. He said, because you removed the government in 2006. I said, yeah. And I suddenly realized where he was coming from. I said, are you part of the events of 2000? Do you endorse what happened in 2000? He said, yes. I said, what do you think that was all about? That was the removal of a government. But, you know, they've been fed all these stories. All of a sudden they're confused about where they're going. But tell me, who keeps referring to me as a coup? The guy that did the coup.
I wouldn't want to bring up names. They're not here to defend themselves. They're not here to speak for themselves.
No. But they're saying that without me being there. Without me being there to defend myself. So go ahead. Make my day.
I wouldn't go that far, but I've posed the question to you. It's up to you how you answer.
Well,
I feel you have.
I'll tell you, Stupondon Dalo and Biman Prasad. Yes?
Okay, confirm, no deny.
Okay.
Another confirm, no deny.
That's in the papers. It's in public that they go around telling everyone he's a coup maker. Don't support him. Coup maker is opposed to who? The African coup makers? You know, I keep telling this story when in 2008, and I think it was 2008, I went to Brussels. And I talked to the commissioner of the European Union. The European Union ambassador denied this. But of course he'll deny it because he wasn't there. I was there, and so was our ambassador, Ratu Tuida Wilachi, and my staff officer was there. And he said, you know, they were all trying to put pressure on me to have election, the whole international community. But I said, we'll have election when we're ready. So I said, I'll give you 500 million euro. Please go and have election. I said, you know, we're so poor. You give us 1 million euro, we'll be glad about that money. But 500 million euro, that's about $1.3 billion Fijian. I said, but see, this is the problem. You see us as a military and African state, where we overturn government for ourselves. Ours is not. Because if I take that money and I have not prepared people of Fiji for the election, then after that money is gone, we haven't sorted out the problem that we've had. And there's quite a bit of problem that we have. especially the events of 2000. So I said, thank you very much. You can keep your money.
No,
but I know, but let me continue. Sure. But that shows how genuine we are, the military was, in making sure that we didn't abuse that process, because we did it for a reason. These two people that are talking about me, coup makers, I don't know where they were in 2000. I don't know how many people in Fiji that are talking about me and the coup know exactly what happened in 2000.
What did happen?
The sacrifices that we went through, the deaths of our soldiers, the problems that we went through with the Great Council of Chiefs and the Talatalas. A lot of people don't know that. These two people that are talking from NFP, Biman Prasad, who's Biman Prasad? I don't even know who Biman Prasad is until about 5-6 years ago. And then he's supposedly academic. And he just appeared from nowhere, from the hole in the wall, with all his talk on academics, so he could get a seat in parliament. It was in 2000. I don't even know him. He doesn't even know what went through the military in 2000. He doesn't even know what happened to the average Indo-Fijian in 2000. You look at his asset that he's declared. He's quite well off. He's not worried about the poor cane farmer. You think Biman Prasad is worried about the poor cane farmer? No, he's not. I worry about the poor cane farmer.
Mr. Bainimarama,
wait. Let me finish this. And this lady who's talking about me being a coup maker, and she's, I don't know how old she was in 2000. Again, like Biman Prasad, I don't know what part she played in the events of 2000. Was she part of the 2000? But I know one thing for sure. Her dad, rest in peace, is a good friend of mine. He was part of the coup in 2000. He was waiting at the Treble Lodge to move into parliament and take over the military part of those George Page group. So where is she coming from? She doesn't even know what she's talking about. She's trying to drum up support so she can get into parliament. This is the same lady that talks about getting rid of this constitution and bringing back the 1990s. Hold on. Getting rid of this constitution and getting the 1997 constitution only because the NFP had put it together. No other reason. Only because NFP had put together the 1997 constitution. That's a joke. This is the kind of people that's going to end up in parliament.
This is the first time this story has come out about Mr. Ndalo waiting to enter into parliament. What exactly do you mean? Was he part of those behind?
Yes, there's a lot of stories. You see, that's exactly what I'm saying. We've come through.
What role did he play?
He was part of the people that were behind the scenes, and he was waiting in the Treble Lodge to go into parliament to look after the military side of parliament. You know, Dubulodha was the main instigator in this. You know, and you know who the instigators of the events of 2000.
Everybody has always forever spoken about these people who were behind the events of 2000, and we hear about it year on year, every time. The people who did it, the people who
it's very
made
simple.
It happen. Who were those people, Mr. Bainimarama, to this day?
Let me tell you, they are politicians. The losers of the 1999 election from SVT, the people that think if we get rid of Chaudhry, I may be an ambassador, or may be a minister. So they go around and bring up this issue about race. So they tell the Tokay people, come, let's get rid of this Indo-Fijian Prime Minister. It's no good for us. Our land is not safe. Come. Knowing fully well, these are the politicians, the losers. Bunch of losers, I call them. These are the same group of people lying to our people in the rural areas, the people that ended up there in hundreds, by telling them our land is not safe. Come. The same lies that are being told to our people now. Same lies. Come. Your land is not safe. Don't take Fiji first. Take Sodapa. when they know it's not true. And that's why the Tokay ended up in hundreds, in the thousands in parliament, because of the lies put out by these politicians using the race card. Okay? I want you to listen to this. They use the race card. That's why from the beginning, the military has always targeted this racial discrimination. We hated it because it's not going to take us anywhere. It's not going to be a good thing for our future, for our kids. But they use the race cards. This is the only excuse they can come up with, because they know the Tokay see themselves as the Tokay. We are the owners of this land. We don't want anybody else. So they use that bit. Come, get rid of this Indo-Fijian Prime Minister. Your land is not safe. Come on. So they end up there. But guess what happened at the end? The Indo-Fijians sat on the sideline while the Tokay killed each other. That's what racial discrimination will bring to Fiji.
Those people behind 2000,
Yeah.
how many of them have been brought to justice? And what is
Most of them have been brought to justice. But I think Dubolodo went off very lightly. He escaped very lightly because he was one of the main instigators. You know, he was the guy that formed the core group that was going into parliament to take over. I mean, that went into parliament to take over parliament. I told our Tokay listeners about the story about this guy, the one that led the team under Dubolodo, Madio Navajosuo, a gentleman from Ra that used to work in the Potokolo gold mine, and he ended up in Nukulau, and we became very good friends because he said, I should have listened to you. In 2005, 2006, he said, I should have listened to you. Because when I was in Nukulau, I suddenly realized that all those people that took us into parliament all disappeared. They all had positions, all ministers, permanent secretaries, ambassadors, and they forgot about me.
Mm-hmm.
You see? That's what he told me. And he said, the Wednesday before the Friday when they went into parliament, Dubolodo came with George Speight. In fact, he was even surprised when the CRW soldiers turned up. He didn't know where they came from. Anyway, Dubolodo turned up with George Speight, and he says, who's this guy? And Dubolodo says, that's George Speight. Who's George Speight? Well, he's going to lead you into parliament. No, he's a half-caste. You lead us into parliament. You are our leader. We are nationalists. And then Dubolodo took a step back and 2 steps sideways and said, no, George Speight is going to take you because he speaks very well. So George Speight took them. But there were a lot of people behind that group that were hanging around waiting for the outcome, which would be for them to be ministers and ambassadors, and some became ministers and ambassadors. Of course, that failed. You know, the event of 2000 failed. Thank God that failed. Because we would have been led by that group in parliament. Fiji would have been gone forever. But we started from there. And I keep saying Fiji First is a new party, but we started from 2000. The problems that we saw, that Fiji faced, we said to ourselves, we must get rid of this, especially this racial discrimination, because this is the downfall of everything that's happened, that bad that has happened to Fiji. 14 years later, we thought we'd change. Like I said, it's like we're in a time warp. Huh? Nothing has changed for these people. They think it's like it's a big joke. She thinks this is a big joke. Who's the leader? Biman Prasad. She thinks talking about all these figures is a big joke, having forgotten what the military came through in 2000, the deaths of the military, and what we wanted to do to change the country so that we can provide our children and grandchildren a better future. That's really what we want. We want an economy We want a society that's free of threats like this. We can live in peace without racial discrimination.
Have we grown as a nation since 2000? Have we come together? Can you honestly say that today?
Well, we found out that we have not. Yes? SODELPA has just showed to the people of Fiji that we have not really, we have not come out of the events of 2000. In fact, they still want us to take us back to the dark days of 2000. So we must, that's the reason I'm going out to the villages and to the settlements and to the public at large to tell them this is a very important election for you. And for me, of course. We're voting on a constitution that's without racial discrimination. One vote, one queue. After 4 years, then you'll vote again. So don't waste your vote. Think of the future for your kids and your grandchildren. What we want is a prosperous Fiji. Economy to grow so that we can have water and road, money in our pocket. Again, not to be threatened. We want stability in the security. So that's not going to happen if parties like SODELPA kicks in every now and then. This racial discrimination they come up with, that's the reason why we removed the government in 2006. Like the glutton for punishment. Yes, it's really unfair on the people of Fiji.
I'll give the next question to you.
Fiji First, all their policies have been forward-looking. 20 years from now, what is your vision for Fiji?
Prosperous Fiji. A Fiji where our kids are free to roam. They want to do anything they want. It'll be a smart Fiji, of course, because we've started on a scholarship, free education. Next year, if we get things right by the second term, we'll have free kindergarten, I hope. There's a lot of expensive kindergartens out there, and some kindergartens have not been registered yet. But we want to start off from here. Before we get to 2020, we want to get rid of these problems that we have on our hands. And I keep saying it's very unfair for people like this, the SODELPA, to come out and still use the race cards to entice the poor guy in the rural areas with lies so that they can be voted in.
Mr. Bainimarama, I just want to take you back to one comment you made about 2000 and what's going on now. Are you saying some of the people who instigated 2000, or who wanted the events of 2000 to happen, are still around and have those same beliefs? Is that what you're seeing unfolding?
Well, no. See, Edwin. See, this is what I've been trying to tell people, because they can't get there on their own merit. Some have been sacked, so the only way they can get in is through the back door. So they look around and think, what can I use to change the ball game? Ah, yes, I can use a race card. So they use the race card. You know, when they talk about Christianity, they're really targeting Christians. So that's discrimination. Maybe not race, but still discrimination. And those are the type of things that end up with people should. I keep telling everyone, we want to thank everyone for their prayers, because as you know, our 45 soldiers have been released. But I keep telling everyone, you know, that fighting in Syria, the fighting in Iraq, that's discrimination. We're such a small country, we don't want to end up doing that, killing each other every day because of that. And you might think, but we're not going to kill 500 people in 1 year. But even one is a lot.
It's too many.
Too many.
I want to put something to you. There's a lot of comment, be it social media, It may be instigated, it may be run by somebody behind the scenes, but there is a lot of comment coming out, and it's from both sides. I have seen Itoke people and Fijians of Indian descent go at it, and there is a lot of nasty stuff being said. It's very primitive, and it's very direct. Do you feel that your decision to come up with a common identity, calling everyone a Fijian, is not settling well with everyone? It can't all be politically motivated. I understand it's coming up to elections. A lot of people would be going out and using that as a tool. But the level of comment that's coming out and the things that people are saying is very scary.
I showed my a team that I had, Professor Yazgai's draft, the proposal that he came up with. There was one in my office, and I showed it around the cabinet to all the ministers. The preamble of that draft is that we all call ourselves Fijian. All these people are crying for Professor Yazgai's draft. They want that to be the 2013 constitution. So what's the big deal? He's called everyone a Fijian. Is someone going to kill over and die because I call you a Fijian? And Rotemumu says, no, Fijian is only for us Itoke. But Fijian is an English word. I was asked by this guy, I keep referring to him as a Swadelpa guy, in Sanganga. He says, why do you call me Itoke? Everyone's a Fijian, and then you say, and he's a Itoke. I said, there's a slight difference between us, the Itoke, and the Indo-Fijian and the Chinese and the people from Rambe and the people from Kioa. You know what the difference is? And he couldn't even figure it out. I said, it's okay because you took care of the land. You're the only one with the land. He doesn't seem to him, he can't figure that one out. He was lost. He said, why are you calling me Toke? I said, because it's very simple. There's a difference between you and there was the Indo-Fijian guy sitting there and him. The difference is that you own land, he doesn't. It's Toke in English.
Jyoti?
When we are looking at the issue of land, and we also look at the Fiji First manifesto, we see that Fiji First intends to set aside $10 million for land development. Why is that $10 million set aside so important for the Itoke landowners?
Jyoti, this is like now. Land is they say land is a political football during election. Yeah. Come election, everybody is talking about land. They're going to take your land off you. But I've mentioned it in the past. In the 8 years I've been in government as Prime Minister, no Toke land has ever come off the Toke to be transferred to the freehold. But that happened in the SDL days with Momi. Everyone knows this story. Yeah, and it happened in SVT with Denrao. Those two lands is not going to come back. It's gone forever. But we're always talking about land, but a good part of that land is unused. That is the reason why we came up with a $10 million grant. So maybe it can entice the landowners to do something about their land. And that's the same reason why we came up with
Land bank.
Land bank. Now it's been turned around.
Right.
They said, Bainimarama is now going to take over your land for 99 years without the Matangali's approval. And the people in the villages, of course, because they don't know what we put in that land bank, they said, yeah, that's true, must be true. But it's not. It's a way to entice the landowners to make use of their land. And I will not sign it until
60%.
the Matangali gives the approval.
All right. At this point, we'd like to remind you that we are coming to you live on For the Record. Our guest is the Fiji First Leader, Mr. Voreqe Bainimarama. And we are still waiting and hoping that the leader of SODELPA, Rotemu Mukepa, will turn up. We have a chair waiting for her, Rotemumu. If you are, in fact, watching or listening across our 6 radio stations, please do turn up. We would eagerly love to have you on the show. Carrying on.
I think you're scared.
I wouldn't know.
No, I think you do.
I wouldn't know. Moving on. Public opinion has wavered recently. According to a Fiji Sun poll, Jyoti's newspaper, your popularity has dropped recently, in recent days and weeks. Why do you think that is?
To tell you the truth, I don't make comment with regards to the polls. You know what Tupun Donindalo said about the polls?
I don't remember. I don't remember.
She said something like, "Oh, it's probably done by the blue bus driver." Something to that effect. This is supposedly the president of a party that wants to have a say in parliament.
Do you take those polls seriously?
Yes and no. Yes, I keep looking at the polls and judging what we see when we go on the ground. And we just have total support, especially those that we've talked to and those that have listened to me speak. Some villagers call me in the last couple of days to say, Fiji First Village. We don't allow any other parties to come and lobby or campaign in our village. And that's a story we get most of the places. So we're winning. We're trying very hard to win the Tauke votes because I'm very worried about the lies that they've been fed.
Jyoti.
Talking about the response that you have received on the ground, we have seen, particularly in the Western Division, widespread support for Fiji First, and we've seen very good turnout at all the fun day that has been held. I understand there's one coming up tomorrow as well. Valilevu?
No.
Yes. What sort of support have you judged, and what sort of support are you expecting?
Well, I think tomorrow is going to be a big day. It's going to be full because I think there's a lot of support for us in this corridor. And a lot of them will want to come and probably see for themselves how we fare in terms of gathering support. But it'll be good. But there's also a lot of support for us in Vonoleu. Don't forget, you know, we did a lot of work up there.
Look North.
Look North policy. I've just opened 1/3 of a first phase of a $40 million highway in Buddha Bay. At the same time, there's a $228 million in the Boa area. But there's a lot of development, a lot of roads, new roads being cut in. We're trying to get people to come in and do their bit. The sugar industry is doing very well in Vonoleu. I heard out of all the sugar mills, before when we took over, it was about 14 tons of sugar to 1 ton of 14 tons of cane to 1 ton of sugar. Now it's 9 tons of cane to 1 ton of sugar. And I heard the mill in Lambasa is doing something like 7 or 6. But I'll have to check those figures.
Fair enough. I want to dig into something you said earlier about moving Fiji forward and taking us back to the days of 2000. When we talk about moving forward, not just politically, but as a country.
It's a country.
As a country.
It's a country.
What do we need? What's lacking? And what will take us back to 2000? Not just politically, but as a country.
Well, only politics will take us back to 2000. Seriously. No matter what you do, if the lying politicians come back online and lie to the people of Fiji again like they did in 2000, they'll definitely take us back to 2000. There's no two ways about it. I keep referring to the Constitution. You know, the Constitution is translated to English, Hindustani, and the Tauke language.
And Braille.
And Braille. See, a lot of people don't know that. It's translated into Braille. When we talked about having it translated into Braille, it was trying to tell the people, we want to give the people a message that when we move away from the events of 2000, that's what we wanted to do, move away from the events of 2000, from those dark days. we want to move together, all races, you, me, the blind, the disabled, the old, the young. We can't afford to just move the Tokay and leave everybody behind, because it's not going to work. Not going to work.
All right.
So if we move as a society, as Fijians together. I've been told by wherever I go, but the political parties, this is one of the political parties' comments earlier on, and they said that's government's responsibility to make roads and put water and electricity. It's really no big deal. But I said, yeah, sure. But which government has ever done it at our pace? Yeah? Which government has ever done it at the range we've done development work? Not only road, telecenters. You see, telecommunications. What was the price of mobile text 5 years ago? What is the price now? Where do you think that came from? That came from everything that we put together to bring, at the end of the day, what we want is a strong economy for Fiji. So we'll work at it. You will have heard that the growth has just come from 3.6 to 4.6 last year, and we expect something like that this year. So we're doing quite well. We have about 1.7, in fact, it went up to $1.8 billion in the reserve from 460 million some years back. I don't know if you remember, but there was a loan offered to us for $1 billion from the World Bank. I think it was 2009, 2010. They couldn't give us a development loan because Australia and New Zealand, of course, went up there and said, don't give them any development loan. Asian Development Bank, since 2006, has not given them a single cent because Australia and New Zealand went up there and told them, don't give them any money until they have election. And when they tell me this, we're not going to give you money until you have election. Fair enough. We'll have our election when we're ready. And then you can give us that money. Australia and New Zealand, we're not going to let you people in until you have election. Fair enough. Keep us out. But we'll do this in our own time. They've opened the doors now.
Does that explain why there's a lot of talk about how Fiji is turning more towards China?
Well, not really. China has always been there. But what I was trying to tell you that the 2013 has now prepared us for election. Okay, we didn't have anything like that. We didn't have any 2013 constitution compared to our 1997 constitution, a very racist constitution, where land is not safe, the Tokay land. But these guys want to take away this and bring back the 1997 constitution. Rotemumu wants to do that. NFP wants to do that. You know what, NFP, I gave you the reason why she wanted to
yes,
put Rondalo,
because NFP.
Because NFP but the...
I understand that point, but just let's talk about how Fiji couldn't secure development loans, ADB and World Bank, because of interference from foreign countries.
Yes.
But you would recognize with all the development that's going on and all the Chinese aid that's pouring in, there's also talk in the villages amongst voters that in a couple of years Fiji will be sold to China. In a couple of years China will own Fiji or own the land, take over the Fiji.
All the land.
So what are you trying to tell me?
I'm trying to tell you that.
Do you believe in that?
I don't believe in that. No, I don't.
Thank God.
But these are the sort of things that stories that are going around because we have a relationship with China.
No. The story really were lies that were told to the people of Moala from Andre Chale. You know Andre Chale, the former permanent secretary. I can mention his name because the Turin Koro called us and told us Andre Chale came here with Malele, former police officer who used to play rugby as a Fiji rep. They went and told the people of Moala, our debt is about 460 billion. And because of that debt, the Chinese is going to take over the nation, the country. And that story spread like wildfire. But you see, they're telling this story to a poor guy in the village who doesn't know what our debt is. So he's saying, oh my God, we can't afford to have the government in Fiji first continue. We must have SODELPA. And that's what I'm trying to tell the people. Don't listen to these lies. But these people don't know that they've been lied to. That's the most unfortunate thing. It's easy to tell people, don't listen to the lies. But people don't know that they've been lied to until somebody comes up there and tells them the truth, like I've been doing. And that's what I've been doing in the last couple of weeks. It's nothing to do with China. It's to do with our debt. And that's where the Chinese thing came from.
Jyoti.
Moving away from all the hard talk, you have not come back.
I don't think there's been any hard talk.
We have seen that you have not come from a political background. We have seen Fiji First as being a new party. What has been your happiest moment during the campaign that you have undertaken?
Happiest moment?
Yeah.
During the campaign or?
During?
Well, I love going to open schools, but that's not part of the campaign. I like to see children face light up when I open the new classroom like we did today and we did yesterday. Today in Savani, yesterday was in Namosi. But the third one was on Wednesday when that school in Batiri got burned down. And we came by and I stopped over. I thought I'd go and have a look at this burned down school. And all these little kids are sitting on a little slope. Sad faces, all watching their school, burned down school. And it was very, very sad for me. But I reassured them. And now the engineers are there, RFMF engineers, building them a new school. But it's nice when you go to this campaign and you get a lot of support. People stand up and said, thank you for what you've been doing for us. Thank you for this road. Thank you for this electricity. Like last night I was in Subabo, the RB Patel complex. Yeah. And as I was after I spoke, there was this guy from Netasiri that stood up and said, in my village, this is another guy that said, in my village it's a Fiji First village. We don't allow any other parties to come there. I don't know how true that is. But he said, because we now have electricity thanks to this government and this man. But I keep telling everyone this story about the electricity in Netasiri. In 2006, there were only about 3 districts in Netasiri that were lit up. Year in and year out, the people of Netasiri complain about no electricity because the electricity line flew over from Wonosabu straight into Suba, over Netasiri. But how many Netasiri parliamentarians have there been? Alliance, SVT, SDL. How many Netasiri parliamentarians? Quite a number. So how come they couldn't get this together?
Back to some hard talk, as Jyoti likes to call it.
Let me finish this.
Oh, you haven't? Okay.
No, I haven't finished. Because I keep telling everyone, the range and the pace that we've done development is because we've removed this racial discrimination from our plans and from our reform and from our mindset. That's gone. So it's very easy to do development when that's done. Very simple.
So may I?
Sure.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Now, your vision for a Fiji, a prosperous, united Fiji, you are saying will come about if the people choose your party into power and you are allowed to run government. But really, what will it take to become a country as you envision it?
It's not just voting my party into power. We have to get rid of this racial discrimination from our midst.
Is that the only, or is that the biggest issue you see right now?
Yes.
What about education and health and empowerment?
All this is good. We're doing this. We're doing all this. My government is done more than any government in building school, taking development into the rural areas that has never been done before. You know, this electricity I was telling you about. 2006 there were 3 districts. The whole of Netasiri is now lit. In fact, I commissioned the electricity in Namosi yesterday. It's in Namosi now. It's past Netasiri. It's in Namosi. 5-6 years ago, people of Namosi wouldn't have dreamt that electricity would be up there with them. It's now with them. All the homes are lit up. The schools, we fixed up the schools. We just come back from a school in Sawanya Primary School that the RFMF engineers fixed up. We've done all this development. Health, everything. We're working at this. But this is a thorn in our side that we need to get rid of. This racial discrimination, that's going to be our downfall. Because if people, especially politicians, keep using it, they'll keep lying to the people. You see? No matter what we do in terms of infrastructure development, when these people come and lie to these people, it's very sad, but they won't follow that problem. You know, I was in Rakiraki. I spoke for 1.5 hours. Full house in Rakiraki. They did the same thing in a village in Nalawa. Full house. I spoke for 1.5 hours, and one old man from Rakiraki stood up and came in the middle of the ground and said, but I see one Indo-Fijian beside you all the time. And I said, I know who he was referring to. I said, so what? He said, can you find a replacement for him? It's okay. I said, I'm just speaking to you for the last 1.5 hours to get rid of this racial thing from your minds. But see, that's how deep these politicians have placed this racial discrimination into people. And that's very worrying. That's the thing we need to get rid of. Get rid of it. It will be home free.
The other thing is VAT. It's being spoken about, we'll reduce VAT, we'll drop it to 10%, we'll drop it to 12%. VAT is too high, the cost of living is too much. Would you consider, if elected into government, would you consider a reduction in VAT?
No.
Can you explain your answer?
Well, this is in reference to Biman Prasad.
Well, no, I mean,
they want to drop VAT.
But let's forget about them.
But this is where you're getting it from.
Regardless, it's being spoken about. People are talking about it.
Yeah, but this is where it's coming from.
But do you want to talk about Biman Prasad in NFP, or do you want to explain?
No, I want to say that this.
Okay, the seed has been planted in people's minds. Let's put it that way.
All right. But you know, he's talking about 5% decrease in VAT from 15 to 10. Yeah?
Yeah.
And he says the price of food will then drop. But all this food stuff that people have every day, we've already done work on it. It's a basic food items. I'm sure Biman Prasad must have heard this before. Basic food items. And those basic food items are VAT free. You don't pay VAT on it. So if we drop VAT from 15 to 10, the poor lady from the village, there'll be no difference in the price of those food stuff, because it's VAT free from 15 to 10. So there's no difference, right? But guess what? Who's going to make money out of the 5% difference? Well, I think it's the rich people, the well-to-do people, the people who buy 52-inch TV, the people who buy Pajeros, because they don't have to pay VAT on all this stuff. The poor people in the village, no difference. These rich guys are going to get away with 5% cut in their VAT. But not only that, tourism is the biggest money earner for us, supposedly. Well, sugar is coming up very fast again. And of course, there's a lot of money coming in from overseas. Tourism, a tourist walks into his room, he pays VAT. He picks up a glass of wine, he pays VAT. He has a plate of steak and chips, he pays VAT. The tourists pay a lot of VAT. So you cut that 5%, the tourist is going to get home scot-free. But there's a whole lot of money being cut off now with that 5% VAT. Somebody from Ministry of Finance said it'll be about $300 million. $300 million out of that VAT. So who is Biman Prasad going to find money to replace that $300 million? Does that mean he's not going to build a road? Or does that mean he's again going to lower the tax threshold? You know, we moved it from 8,400 to 16,000. Before, if you were earning 8,400, you pay 15% VAT. Tax. But we've moved that. For all those people between that until 16,000, they don't pay any tax. So there's a lot of money in their pocket. We make up for that. Of course, the bus fare, school fees. A parent would have a kid going to school. If he's a single child kid, he'll be paying about what, $200, $300 a term. He now saves that because he doesn't pay school fees. He doesn't pay bus fare. So there's a lot of money still going into their pocket without dropping that VAT and making no difference in the cost of food stuff. But a lot of money going to the tourists, going back to the tourists, and a lot of money going back to the rich people, the well-to-do people in our society.
All right. On that note, we will take a break. We've, of course, had a very lengthy, very detailed discussion with the leader of Fiji First. And we are still waiting, almost halfway into the show. We still await the arrival of Rote Mumukepa. If at the last minute, by some miracle, she decides to turn up and be part of the show. We are coming to you live on FBC TV and our 6 radio stations, Radio Fiji 1, Radio Fiji 2, Gold FM, Today FM, Bula FM, and Mirchi FM. We'll be back after a short break. Welcome back to For the Record. We're speaking with the leader of Fiji First, Mr. Warangambani Marama. I did say we are halfway through the show, but I'm now being told that we are, pretty much well over time. Time flies when you get into these sort of things. So, no, we're not halfway through the show. We're nearing the end of the show now. Jyoti, I'll give you one more question.
Sure, definitely. Looking back over the past few years, is there something that you see that you could have done differently? And of course, you have said at several times that Fiji has been in need of decisive leadership. So, if you'd have done anything differently.
Nothing, Jyoti. Yeah, I keep telling everyone that I came through the ranks in the Navy, and I'm the first naval officer to head the Army. That's a bit funny, but yes, I was the first one to come away from the Navy and lead the military. In those, really, when I came in, things were just starting to heat up. I remember Mbuton Rocco walking into my office when I became commander, and he says, "I want to tell you that you're the savior of our nation." And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, you're the only one that can remove Chaudhry." I said, no, that's not going to happen. This is Mbuton Rocco. In fact, I had one of the senior officers in there with me, and we were laughing at it about. But no, I came through the ranks, and I guess I've been around. I don't know if any of the leaders of these parties have been around like me. Rote Mumu, who is a teacher. Biman Prasad, an academic, who came out of the woodwork about 5 minutes ago. Who else is there? Felix Anthony, unionist. No, I came through hard time. You know, I've been attacked 3 times. There were a couple of assassination attempts on me, not only in 2000. You know, Balu Khan and his team, Ratunake Takebekata. There are a couple of more attempts to remove me. I was offered a lot of positions. One was to be ambassador in New Zealand in 2004, which I refused. But I and the military came through hard times after the events of 2000. And there were a lot of sacrifices on our part. You know, we asked the nation to move with us. When everything shut down, we said, let's move on. Well, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Even though the banks shut our loans down, our neighbors didn't want us to go into the countries. Immigration stoppages, we said we'll continue. We keep saying there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Well, we thought that the Constitution was that light, or part of that light. Apparently not. Because when we look back, the dark part of the tunnel is still there. The light didn't really shine through. So the people that want to take us back to the dark days of 2000. And that's a sad part of it all. But we'll go on.
Is it true that your appointment initially was because certain people thought that they could manipulate you and use you as military commander?
Oh, no. No, it doesn't work that way.
Well, I'm asking. I mean, because you said Buthendroka walked into your office and said
but it was not part of the group that appointed me. No.
Did anyone ever come up to you directly and try and influence you to overthrow the Labour government?
Oh, no. Well, besides Buthendroka? Yeah. No.
Well, I guess it's time to wrap up the show. Mr. Bainimarama, thank you very much for coming. On a parting note, your biggest political rival right now would be the Sodelpa leader. Had she been here right now, what is the one thing you would say to her?
Well, I would ask her what credential is she bringing. Can she lead the nation at this time? Does she know what to do to take us forward? Has she got plans? Has she got a vision? I have a vision for the nation. I have a vision for our children and our grandchildren. Has she got one? Or is it just dark days of 2000? Can she get rid of the racial discrimination that's been the downfall of our nation for the last 20, 30 years? I have tried that. It's in the Constitution. And it's working.
All right. With that, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Jyoti, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Edwin.
That was our For the Record special live with the leader of Fiji First, Josiah Waring Bainimarama, and we were also live across our 6 radio stations. To our listeners on these 6 stations, thank you for joining us. Good night, and we hope to see you again soon. Wadamata.